Hi, this is Alex down here at Harper's Ferry Armory. I'm here with a couple of buddies of mine. We're going to show you how to put in one of our Harper's Ferry Armory drop-in triggers using an HFA 15. Now, first thing you're going to want to do on these is you got a couple of pins here that hold the upper action onto the lower action. Those have to be popped out before you can do anything inside the gun, so we're going to start by doing that. So as you can see, push on this side, everything comes out here. There's a small detent and spring holding that pin into place. Same thing on the rear. Once those pins are out, I'm going to remove your upper action, and you're going to see that your hammer is back. You're going to want to drop that forward by flipping the safety to fire, holding down on the hammer, squeezing your trigger until you relieve the pressure, letting it come up. Do not drop the hammer, it can damage the firearm. Next thing we're going to do is there are a couple of pins holding in your hammer assembly and trigger assembly. So we're going to go ahead and pop those out. May need a little bit of assistance. That's the pin that you're looking at. It has two grooves, one on the side, one in the middle. What happens with those grooves is you have a spring in here, and one of the legs sits across that groove and holds your whole hammer and trigger assembly into place. Next thing we're going to do is remove the trigger and sear. Now, one thing you'll notice that has the same grooves, you'll want to put those in backwards like that, so that one spring is holding down your hammer spring, one spring is holding down your trigger spring. Next thing, everything should be loose inside your receiver, so the next thing you're going to do is remove your sear. This is what holds down on your trigger on your hammer when it's being held back before firing. Next, you'll notice that there's a screw inside of the grip, and what that does is it's going to take your grip off and relieve the spring tension from your selector switch. Once your grip screw is removed, you'll see that this freely comes off of here. Remove this. Be sure to be careful because there are two springs that are going to fall out. There's one. There's the other. What these springs do is they hold in detents that connect to your selector and to your rear takedown pin. So you're going to want to remove the detents. Remove your selector and your rear takedown screw. Then your trigger should freely come loose. So that's your basic breakdown of the AR-15 to remove all the internals for the trigger and hammer mechanism. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to throw in some of our drop-in triggers here from Harper's Ferry Armory. Now, this is an upgraded model. It's got gold plating on it. Fantastically smooth trigger. The coating on there makes it so that there's no drag, no creep, no nothing like that. They are adjustable down to 4 pounds reliably. Comes with everything you should need, including an ambidextrous selector. This retails at $269.99. If you wanted to go a little bit more basic, not worried about having an ambidextrous selector, and you just want to throw your old one in, we have a baseline model. Not as high of a grade of a coating, but still fantastic. Little creep, little drag, but nothing you can't get over. $219.99 is the retail price, and we're going to go ahead and see how this fits into our receiver. You're going to want to open it with the back end down so that you don't drop any of your pieces. Make sure to remove your pins, put them in a safe place. You're going to take out your trigger, put the packaging to the side. Then I'm going to slide everything in. It should meet up nicely. As you can see, there are two holes that are supposed to line up through and through just to be able to see daylight. Next thing you're going to do is take your two pins. Now, it doesn't matter as much with the drop-in triggers which way that your pins go. I'm still going to reverse them because it's good practice. So one slides in to the bottom hole. Once again, a little bit of help never hurts. Next one's going to slide into your hammer slot. Make sure everything's aligned properly. So you'll notice that these pins are a little bit loose. You can actually push them finger tight. What you're going to do is each kit comes with 2 Allen keys, the smaller of which is going to help you get rid of that creep. So you're going to drop your hammer, same way as before, relieve tension with one hand, pull your trigger, your hammer will go up. And you'll notice that there are 2 small Allen screws on the sides and one larger one in the middle. Smaller Allen key goes into the ones on the side, and you tighten it down till you bottom out. Then you're going to go over to the other side and do the same thing. Tighten everything down until it bottoms out. What you'll notice that does is there's no longer any play in those pins. You can't push them out. If you do not do this, your pins will walk out due to recoil and you'll have a major problem. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the trigger pull. And how I do that is this center Allen screw right here and the larger Allen key. That should fit just inside. And then you should be able to rotate it to the right to loosen up that trigger pull. One thing you want to make sure of, hold your trigger down and that the trigger resets. So by testing that, hold your trigger down, bring your hammer back until it locks into place, slowly let go until you hear the click. And what I like to do is I like to go until I cannot reset it and then tighten it up about a half turn. So you can see that that did not reset. So that's where we want to be. And go about a half a turn at a time until you get a reliable reset. And that's right about there. Next thing we're going to do for you, if I can grab a rag here, we're going to test the poundage by using one of our Lyman trigger gauges. Go ahead and get this set up, hit ready, clear, ready. Once again, I'm putting a rag here so that it does not damage the firearm. You can see I got a little bit light still. So I'm going to have to adjust it back up until it's about 4 pounds. Otherwise you will get unreliable reset. So we're going to go ahead and get another half turn out of this. A little bit too high. So it's going to take a little bit of playing with. Go back about a quarter turn. That's right about where you want it. 4.16 pounds. Next thing you're going to do is completely reassemble the rifle. What that means is you're going to take your selector with your hammer to the rear. It should, if everything is done correctly. You may have to push down on this little plate back here a little bit. Pause the video. I'm going to show you the difference between one of our Harper Ferry Armory drop-in triggers and a standard AR trigger. So we're going to go back to our trusty trigger gauge. We're at about 5 pounds. It's a little bit high. You can adjust it down further from there if you need to. Next thing we're going to do is remove that. Next thing we're going to do is test one of the standard triggers in an AR. what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our trigger gauge, make sure that the safety is off. As you can see, that's about 7 pounds, a little over 6. Try that one more time, just see if we get the same reading. 6.5, 7 pounds. So, as you can see, it wasn't too terribly hard to drop that in. However, if you do ever need assistance, please stop by the shop. We offer a wide variety. We offer services as far as gunsmithing, armor service, and we are now offering Cerakote. Thank you and have a pleasant day.